Hello YouTube, Flashlight Enthusiast here. A little over 1 year ago I did a review of the updated E07X Cannon. I was amazed how compact it was and the performance was really nice. I still do have it in my collection today. Now I'd like to show you the version 2 of this flashlight with the improved performance, additional magnet and some other features, which makes this already almost perfect flashlight. Even better, I got this flashlight directly from Fireflies free of charge for review purposes. As usual though, I try to be as objective as independent as possible while creating this review and show you all the aspects of this flashlight. Links under the video may be affiliate, so if you use them you get the discount but also support the channel. At the time of recording this review, the E07X Cannon V2 is available in 4 different anodization colors as well as with FFL351A emitters, but also luminous SFT25R for extra lumens. I got the FFL351A 5000K 95 CRI emitter version in gunmetal grey, which this time was actually as I requested. Thank you, Fireflies! E07 comes in the standard black cardboard box with Fireflies logo, and there are also information about the version at the side. What you get in the package is a detailed Unreal 2 user manual with all the features explained. Both lanyard attachment and pocket clip, one is pre-attached to the body, one stretchy lanyard, and 4 spare O-rings in case you need a replacement in the pre-sealed package. As much as I like Firefly's design, this E07X V2 is simply gorgeous. I really like the finish of this gunmetal grey much more than black, as all flashlights in my collection are black. So the color accent is really nice and it does match perfectly with this cyan lightning under the switch and the auxiliary lights as well. And if you didn't yet have a chance to own a Fireflies E07 by any means, what you will immediately notice is this flashlight is quite compact for the power it offers. Here it is next to the Hangwang's emitter D4K, similar battery size. Here it is next to the Fireflies X4 Stellar. And by the way, it has virtually identical size as the E04 Surge from Fireflies, however it does feature different optics. Of course you have to bear in mind that E07X is not a traditional jeans pocket EDC as this D4K for instance, weighing 211 grams or 7.4 ounces with battery loaded, compared to 141 grams or 5 ounces in case of D4K. However, with additional mass comes the privilege of better performance, which you will see in the Runtime Graphs section. And in my view, the build quality is really excellent on this one. Of course, this knurling on the battery tube is quite sharp and aggressive in my view, however there are no sharp edges anywhere here. Even on the cooling fins or in this threaded bezel, everything is really smooth and anodization feels of good quality. The pocket clip is of good retention here, but be careful because of this quite sharp knurling, it might damage your pockets, so be cautious with this. It can be rotated if you need that, as it does attach here. You can unscrew this one and replace it, either the pocket clip or the attachment for your lanyard, and there is also a magnet that can be removed if you unscrew this piece. I just like to set the clip at the one line with the charging port to make it easier to locate in the dark. However, the switch is not like the port, so it is easy to locate in the dark, as it is slightly protruding and quite clicky in my view, which I kind of like. The bezel is slightly granulated and there is this 7 LED optics here with anti-reflective coating on the glass. And there are 6 RGB auxiliary LEDs underneath, fully functional with Unreal UI. However, bear in mind that these are not synchronized with the LED under the switch, which is really a shame, as they do offer it in L60 model for instance. So I don't really understand this choice. I do highly recommend unscrewing the head to get access to the battery, and in my case, as you can see, the threads are really dry from the factory, so please lubricate them if you have the same case. And the head side, we've got a picture of this legendary and really nice Lumex driver with quite thick spring, and down there is a second spring as well with quite thick battery tube, as you can see. And while I can unscrew the tail cap to access the magnet, I couldn't unscrew it further to get access to this spring. For the tests, I'm using the Samsung 50S battery with both high capacity and high discharge current. Please note that for this flashlight you need flat top unprotected batteries because longer will not fit. And you know what? I really like the charging port. It does feature the same snap-in-place magnetic charging cover, and if you plug in your USB-C charging source, it does have the charging indicator underneath the switch, which in my sample is hard to notice really, but there is this light reddish indicator underneath which will disappear when the charging has been finished. And yes, it does support Type-C to C charging, and it took around 2.5 hours to fully charge the Samsung 50S battery. The charging port is fully waterproof, and when you finish the charging it simply snaps back in place, so you don't have to worry about the rubber covers not fitting properly. Brilliant! The interesting thing is that while charging you can actually fully operate the flashlight including the turbo output, however I would do not recommend this. This flashlight uses the standard Unreal 2, so it can be both really simple and both extremely difficult to use, as it features multiple settings that can be set by the user themselves. Nevertheless, basic operations include one click to turn it on, one click to turn it off. You can actually hold the switch from off to access the ultra-low moonlight mode. One click will turn the flashlight off. While on, you can hold the switch to increase and then decrease the brightness in a smooth fashion, or triple click to switch to the predefined preset Lumen Levels. When you double tap from off, you go into the max ramp mode, and if you double click when the flashlight is on, you go straight into the turbo output. Now when you triple click from off, you get access to the battery voltage check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So blinks will indicate the battery voltage, which was 3, pause and 8 blinks, which means 3.8 volts. Auxiliary eyes will also show you the battery voltage. When you turn off the flashlight, it will go into the battery voltage check with different colors of auxiliary light. And last but not least, there is also your lockout function, so 4 clicks from off. And now this flashlight is locked out, as you can see. 4 clicks again to unlock it. Please do note that this flashlight comes calibrated both in case of voltage and temperature from the factory, so actually you don't have to set it on your own, which might be good for beginner users. Here are my lumen measurements of the Fireflies E07X V2. If you need more time, feel free to pause the video. I still do have the older E07X model. This is the version 1, this is the version 2. And there are some minor differences that I wanted to show you. First things first, this is interesting, but you cannot see this on the camera. This one has the blue light underneath the switch, while this one is cyan. We do have a different bezel. The one on the left is threaded, and you can fit the optional lantern kit on this one if you need that. The newer model is slightly longer as it features the magnet in the tail cap, which is quite nice. The clip is actually identical, and they both feature the patented USB-C magnetic cover. However, main thing you'll notice is different optics. While on the older model I had slightly narrower spot. Now on this newer model we have really bright, nice big hotspot and still good amount of throw. Fireflies also claims it improved FET performance in turbo output, and let's see about that. I have older model with different emitters, so I cannot compare apples to apples. However, if you look at the performance of the V2 model, here as you can see we've got around 5600 lumens at start, which is just crazy, judging that we have 7 High-CRI emitters from Fireflies, and then after 1 minute and 27 seconds we still got a hair under 5000 lumens. Before a quick step down to around 1424 lumen level with flashlight body achieving 58 degrees Celsius. As usual with Unreal, I set the thermal limit to 70 degrees Celsius, so please don't do this at home. I do this to show you the peak potential of this flashlight, and as you can see, it can sustain around 1344 lumens, while heating up to 64 degrees Celsius, and overall runtime is 1 hour and 26 minutes on a fresh Samsung 50S battery. On max ramp, I measured 2240 lumen level, and after 9 minutes and 32 seconds we still got over 1938 lumens, before a gradual set of step downs to around 1260 lumen level, which was actually the sustainable lumen level, with overall runtime of 128 minutes and flashlight body stabilizing at 64 degrees Celsius. And if you compare it to older model with XPL High 70 CRI cool white emitters, you can see that again, new model is more powerful despite having high CRI emitters, but it will also sustain high lumen levels, while having pretty identical runtime in turbo. In my testing in max ramp, also newer model shows much more stable performance without dropping too low and then increasing the brightness, so in my view it is definitely an improvement here. During my testing, I detected some audible noise and flickering at one of the stepped ramping modes, which is both annoying and worrying somehow. Do you also experience this in your sample, or is it just mine? The beam pattern is really nice on with this one. We've got a big focused hotspot and truly bright spill, and I think these new optics are definitely better than in the case of V1 E07X with XPL High I showed on the channel a year ago. And these FFL emitters are truly nice. As you can see on Opal measurement, I got around 5300K and 100 CRI, which means they are around 95 plus CRI, truly nice color rendering. And these particular optics made them slightly warmer compared to X4 with same emitters. I see the difference. While they are not as rosy as 4000K FFL emitters featured for instance in E04 on my channel, which is just a sweet spot in my view if you choose the emitters wisely. So, Did the Fireflies deliver this time? Absolutely yes, we've got better performance, excellent build quality, and this flashlight is so compact for this power that I am truly amazed it can hold such high brightness for such long. Obviously kudos for Lumex driver and the high regulated output that you can have both ultra low moonlight mode, excellent regulated output and nice FET Turbo performance finally in this model. Obviously I do appreciate different anodization color variants and different LEDs, as I have to admit the Fireflies FFL emitters are truly nice with both high output and excellent CRI, which a couple of years ago wasn't actually possible, but now you can have it both. And if you do like extra output, you can always go with FFT351A emitters with low CRI but also more powerful flashlight. One thing, if you do own the older E07X, maybe the switch to the newer model wouldn't be that noticeable unless you suffer from low performance turbo output and you do want to have it improved. However, other than that, they are pretty similar models with some minor improvements that if you don't own the E07X yet, then definitely go for the V2 version instead of the V1. Be careful though, because as much as I love Firefly's flashlight, my sample showed that the quality control on the factory might have some reservations. My friends were completely dry from the factory, which could not happen to the regular user, while the charging indicator on the switch almost does not show properly. These two minor things just leave the bad taste in my mouth under this review. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button to support the algorithm and not to miss any future videos they release. If you have any questions or personal comments, leave them below this video. Thank you so much for watching and we will see you in the next one.